Hey, welcome back to that 70s card show. I'm your host, John Keating, and I thank you for joining me as I take a look back at the cards and the culture of the very colorful 1970s. We'll revisit a more simple time in our hobby by taking a deep dive into the sets and the stats with a generous amount of dad facts sprinkled in. That 70s card show is currently sponsored by nobody. If you want to reach out with criticisms, critiques, questions, comments, Uh, yap at me at that70scardshow at gmail.com, on Twitter at 70scard, or that 70s card show on the YouTube. Yeah, that's about it. This is episode 58. And where you guys been? I've been here the whole time, right? It's good to be back, I think. One of the things I want to talk about in episode 58 is where I've been, where I'm going, and whether we're going there together, because I'm not so sure at this point. I have had an absolutely jam-packed summer filled with many, many things. June was a month of career crossroads. Thankfully, all that got sorted out. I spent 3 weeks overseas working on a amazing project. I was the least talented member of an amazing team that pulled off an amazing feat in a short amount of time. While I was over there, I was also dealing with a couple other accounts, one in New York and one in Los Angeles. So you can imagine being 5 hours ahead of New York and 8 hours ahead of Los Angeles, and trying to get stuff done. Sleeping sleeping was something I did very little of when I was overseas working on the project. So got home on the I'm going to say the 22nd of July. Immediately went right to work. I'm talking about airport, home, on the computer. That was a Monday. Tuesday, same thing. Wednesday, same thing. Thursday, went up to New York. Friday, I had the pleasure of attending the National Convention in Atlantic City and hanging out with some of the Hobby Hotline panel. Very talented bunch of people, knowledgeable bunch of people, and personable bunch of people. So that was fun hanging with them. Friday night, came home, went to dinner with my wife, and woke up with food poisoning the next day. So Saturday was spent food poisoning myself, trying to get rid of the demons that lived in my belly. And Sunday went back to the National, cruised around, had a good time on the last day. Headed home Monday, woke up with COVID. So what a crazy, crazy month July was for me. So COVID's kind of kicked my butt. Probably 2 weeks into it now. Most of the symptoms are gone, but I'm breathing like an 80-year-old coal miner at this point, which really kind of sucks. But yeah, it's kind of given me a lot of time to think here, and kind of figuring out where I want to go. I've over the past 6 weeks, I've probably decided 12 times to never do another broadcast again, whether it's a YouTube or a podcast. Talked myself into it, talked myself out of it. But here I am now. So another interesting thing that happened was in between my food poisoning and my COVID was also the last week of some college classes I was taking. So it's a crazy, crazy time, and my mind has been far from collecting for most of the summer, unfortunately. But one of the things I want to talk about is kind of turning the page. Now, Bob Seger wrote the song "Turn the Page" in the early 70s, became a big hit in the mid 70s on his live album, which was titled Live Bullet by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullets. And many of you may know, but I was a roadie for about 10 years, and some of those songs really hit home, like Turn the Page, which was also covered by that top 40 band Metallica at one point. Faithfully by your friends there at Journey, and Jackson Browne, of course, Load Out, and wonderful, wonderful song there. So anyway, life on the road for 10 years, you kind of get strung out and burned out and all that stuff. And I kind of drew the parallel there with my collecting as well. And collecting, unfortunately, wrapping in with content creation and all that fun stuff. So I don't consider myself an influencer at all. I have no urge to be an influencer. I don't even consider myself a content creator. I'm somebody with a microphone and a camera and the ability to somehow record it. And I just babble on and try to educate myself. I've always said try to be a self-educator with my program. So none of us are going to learn anything today. That's for sure. Cause I'm just babbling. But getting a little strung out from the whole, lights, camera, action part here. And at the National, my goals were to complete 4 sets. And I was able to do that 79, 72, 70, and 69 tops baseball. So really, what a great time that was, right? And these are sets that if you look at a 54-year-old guy like me, I've spent my entire life trying to complete these sets, right? It's a lifetime worth of work put into these sets. So there gets to be a moment like you throw them into the binders and it's done. And sure, there's plenty of sets to complete, but it's kind of a weird moment that I crossed the finish line, all the same weekend on those 4 sets that I've been working on for the better part of 45 plus years, from probably when I got the first cards from 69, 70, 72, whatever. So, it's I don't want to say letdown because it's quite an accomplishment in my own mind, but it's like what next again, right? So National knocked out those 4 sets, which all 4 sets combined, it was only 20 cards total, but it was still fun to knock them out and kind of the chase. You can get anything on YouTube, or I'm sorry, anything on eBay that you want. It doesn't compare to going out and finding a card. In fact, 1970 Ron Santo tops. I was trying to complete I had 1 left, and I went to a dealer. Do you have a 70 Ron Santo tops? And he goes, well, no, but go 2 booths over. He's got 3 of them, and I bought the worst one. So I went over there, and that's part of the fun, that anticipation, that 15 seconds it took me to get to that other booth was amazing, right? I practically floated over there, made a deal for the card, whatever, probably overpaid as usual. So those achievements are fun, but they're also a little bit of there's some air that gets let out of the balloon. Also, 69 tops up. I have start on the 68. And one of my goals was to get a 68 Johnny Bench. So I finally pulled the trigger on one of those, bought a raw copy, and awesome. Right. I think I put all my pickups on my last YouTube video from a couple weeks before I got the plague. So that goal reached. The other goal was to get a Lefty Grove, 33 Gouty Lefty Grove. I fell a little bit short, but I did get a 34 Gouty Lefty Grove. So it's strange going into that card show, biggest card show of the year, and kind of like leaving nothing on the table. You did it all. You got everything you wanted. I would have. There's a couple Kellogg's 3D items that I wanted that I didn't get, wasn't able to get, but they're hard to get at the shows anyway because people just don't carry them around that much. So anyway, a little bit of a letdown, right? I'm not the kind of guy that goes to the National to partake in all the corporate booths. I don't partake in breaking. I see the fool's gold there, and I can't believe everybody else doesn't see the fool's gold, or most people don't see it. Very popular, obviously, but it's not my thing. I don't care about the manufacturers. I don't care about Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, Fanatics. I don't hold them in on an elevated plane. They're just people that make cards, and if it wasn't them, it'd be somebody else, right? So I don't idolize any of those guys. I don't deal with PSA. I like SGC. But my goal isn't to get stuff graded. And my goal isn't to get stuff autographed as well. A lot of people do that. And a lot of people I get why they do it. It's just not my thing. And it's fun watching people get autographs from people they idolize or to complete runs that they're doing. I think that's pretty cool, but it's just not my thing. So the National to me is a big card show. Um, don't go to the parties. I'm not a not a big social butterfly, so it's it's just a card show on steroids for me. Uh, it's my first national since 1991, so 31 years in between nationals. And truth be told, even though I made reservations for next year already, which I can cancel a day before I arrive, uh, doesn't matter to me. The national doesn't matter to me so much because I don't get out of it what most people do, and I'm glad that those people do get the camaraderie out of it, and the parties and the corporate stuff. I think it's great for them. It's just not my cup of tea. I get a little disenfranchised. I think because there's so much of the hobby that I don't participate in, and it doesn't bother me. It's kind of like the song that we're talking about with Bob Seger. You walk in and you kind of feel like the oddball because you have long hair and everybody else is staring at you as you walk through the room. It's kind of how I feel. I don't feel like anybody's staring at me, but I feel like I'm the oddball because I'm not there for the giveaways or the get-togethers or the Q&As with the manufacturers or whatnot. So not an industry guy. The people that I do run into and that know me and I know them, wonderful people all. And I wish I could, tell them how much I appreciate what they do and for giving me the time of day. So I don't want anybody to think I'm, not thankful for that, because I've said many times to whoever will listen that I'm an introvert and I'm a loner. So kind of okay on my own. And it's a stretch for me to socialize, but for those who do show me the time of day, I really do appreciate that. So I'm different. I'm there for the cards. We're all there for the cards, but I'm there for specifically maybe to build sets or to get some oddball stuff or whatnot. I don't really appreciate the game. I don't appreciate the way the hobby idolizes 1 or 2 year, first year, second year players, third year players. Grew up in a different time when your career, as you accumulated your stats, that's when you kind of really gathered a following in the hobby, and the hobby didn't, the hobby didn't turn on you every 2 months or 3 months or 6 months or whatever. So the speculation in the hobby is probably what bothers me the most now, because we're willing to put people in the Hall of Fame after a season or 2 seasons, and it's just not my thing. So this is probably the most downer episode you'll ever hear of any podcast. So just trying to figure out where I am in this hobby. Do I keep going with a podcast or a YouTube show? And I don't care about subscribers. I care about my subscribers, but I don't care about having 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000. In fact, it's probably the opposite of the way I am. Again, I'm a kind of hide under the covers kind of guy. Don't look at me. So, so many good content creators out there. Perhaps I've fallen into the trap of trying to keep up with what they're doing, and that's just not a healthy thing. So I've questioned whether I should keep going, and I'm not sure what the answer is there, but I really learn a lot from some of the people. And I've also weeded out some of the programs that I have listened to in the past, because I don't think it provides a good foundation for the future of the hobby. Some of the stuff that I did listen to a year ago, I definitely don't listen to now. And it's kind of cool, because when I went about the national this year, none of that mattered. Like, don't remember seeing any cameras around or anything like that, which is great. But I did meet John Wade Boggs fan at a table. We were both looking at cards, and that's what it should be about: bumping into somebody that you didn't expect to see. Him looking at cards, me looking at cards, me acting awkward because I was just happy to meet John. Just happy to see somebody that you watch on a channel right there, bumping into them in an impromptu fashion. And again, I acted awkward in front of him and around him, but just that stuff was kind of fun, right? True collector, just doing his thing, trying to buy some cards, no cameras around him, whatnot. So my collecting, again, I feel like I have kind of a hangover after finishing these 4 sets, and I've thought about it a lot lately. There's plenty to do. I got to focus on 70 sets, whether they're the oddball serial stuff, hostess stuff, or football, basketball, hockey. There's so much out there. So I think I've kind of had my talk with myself to figure out where I'm going to go. I was born in 1968, so that 1968 set is probably kind of the last hurdle for me, about halfway there. So I'll probably dive into that pretty heavily, but concentrate mostly on the 70s oddball stuff, which is fun, real fun. Creating content, who knows what's going to happen, because if I get the urge to do a video or a podcast, I'll do a video or podcast. It's not cheap, folks. I don't have any sponsors. I'm a picky eater, but I'd be just as picky with sponsors. So StreamYard costs money. Buzzsprout, who hosts my podcast, costs money. So we'll see if I'm motivated to keep going with that. But woe is me, right? So I am a little disturbed by the business side of things. I'm on record as saying that I don't care about comps. I don't care about grades. I have graded cards. I've graded some cards myself, but that's to preserve them. I've bought graded cards so that I, in theory, have another layer of protection for against counterfeit cards and stuff like that. For the most part, a lot of it seems like keeping up with the Joneses, which I'm none too thrilled to participate in. I don't care, again, about what grade my cards are. If a card looks good, I'll take it. I've used the term lately, oven touchers, right? So it seems like we keep touching the hot stove, and I don't understand why that keeps happening in the hobby / industry, but people keep getting burned, but we're not learning from each other. We're not learning from ourselves. So it's kind of a, again, I'm the outlier here. I'm the one in the corner that is the freak, and I completely realize that. But I do appreciate that. I don't feel like I'm completely alone. I have there's collectors out there. Dean Gerhardt, who keeps going at it. He doesn't care either. He does his thing, and I appreciate people like him, Tom Cooter, Lev, Mark Hoyle. Really appreciate the way they collect. They give me inspiration. They give me hope. Don, Field of Dreams, Lee Champion, everybody. These are people that give me hope and inspiration to keep going. Like keep your. It's okay not to collect the shiny stuff. It's okay not to get caught up in all the other industry nonsense. I appreciate that I have a compass, and the needle's pointed in their direction, and they're leading the way. So helps me get through some of the uncertainty I have with my own collecting. Do I keep going? Do I get rid of this that I have? I've got monster boxes behind me filled with junk wax era cards, but I love them. I love the cards. I mean, tomorrow I'm going to drive out 5-10 miles from my house, meet somebody at a post office at 10 a.m. For $30, I'm buying 3 shoe boxes of cards, and I can't wait. Probably a lot of JWE in there, but the pictures indicated that there's enough oddball stuff that it's going to be worth my time and energy, and I can't wait to get them back, sort them out, and if I need 500 out of the 3,000 cards, then it'll be a successful day. If I need 200, it'll be a successful day. That's what it's about. It's not about, finding the autograph for the player that's batting 260 right now, with 7 home runs and 43 RBIs, yet he's the biggest name in the hobby. So I'm going to keep going that direction because I have these role models that are telling me it's okay, and I have a humble collection, but it's okay to grow it the way I want to grow it. My garden isn't as big as other people's gardens, but I like my garden, so I'll keep going that direction. There's other people out there like Zach and Porter who are doing it together, father and son, and Andrew and Dean, which is the most awesome thing in the world. I wish I had shared more of this with my sons growing up. Didn't happen, but it gives me hope for the future of the hobby as well when I see fathers and sons doing that stuff together. And it's not about flipping cards or whatnot. It's about getting cards and understanding the history of the cards. So I love that. I love what they're doing, and I appreciate that. And I guess we'll see where all this takes us, right? Again, a little bit strung out from the road, as they say. Bob Seger was right. It's I feel like I get crazy looks and stuff like that, but maybe I'm one of the silent minority, and there's more of me out there other than the people I've listed. But it's the hobby needs to correct itself. I think we're getting too hung up on. I'm not a religious man, but I like to point to the 10 Commandments, and we seem to break a lot of them in this hobby. And whether it's coveting thy neighbor's cards, or what, it's just false idols, all that nonsense. I feel like we need to straighten ourselves out a little, and chasing the almighty dollar and attaching the monetary value is we're all in it for different reasons, but I can't see it being healthy because it's not healthy anywhere else in society. We're talking about slabbing video games and VHS tapes and stuff like that. I don't understand. Everything doesn't need to be slabbed or encapsulated. Look at this. Imagine putting this Mike Schmidt glass inside of a plastic tube to encapsulate it. Well, I don't know. Seems a little silly to me, right? Put everything in plastic. It's like my Aunt Rose's couch in the 1970s. It was in plastic, and it was probably the most miserable experience in the world when you're wearing high shorts and a half top, sitting on one of those. So that's enough. I guess 23 minutes and 44 seconds is enough to hear me ramble on. So we'll see what happens, folks. I just finished a book by Jay Daniels, finally. Love it. It's about the 1980 Phillies season. Let's see if I have it here. So, this is the kind of stuff that gives me hope. It's pure baseball. A little bit of business creeping into it, but it shows you how far we've come when most of the book is about baseball and the idiosyncrasies of baseball, even up until 1980. So let's reach into the bag and find something else. So, of course, I immediately started Stars and Strikes by former guest of this show and my favorite baseball writer, Dan Epstein. So plenty to read, plenty to see out there. Keep educating yourself. Don't worry about what the other person is collecting. If you want to collect somebody, collect somebody. If you want to collect something, collect something. Don't worry about it. Just don't look over your shoulder. Just have fun. Satchel Paige said, "Don't look back. Something might be gaining on you." So just collect the way you want to collect. I'll have to tell myself that every day, and when I look in the mirror as well. So that's about it. I want to thank you for joining me on my journey back in time, which in this case was the summer of 2022. If you have a comment or suggestion, again, if you have a set from the 70s you'd like to hear more about, just reach out to me at ThatSeventiesCardShow@gmail.com. That 70s Card Show on YouTube, and 70s Card on the Twitter. Mango Safari is playing us off on the podcast. And appreciate you sticking around for episode 58. Maybe there will be a 59. We'll see what happens. I might wake up tomorrow and be inspired. So enjoy your collecting, and more importantly, enjoy your collection. Thanks again, everybody. Be safe. And thanks for everything. Appreciate it. Have a great, great day.